stupid, dumb.
Is that me? 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 Is it me you're looking for? I can move more in the middle. I can change my little camera. Not too much. Oh, man. Hi. Hi, everybody. Yeah, what about it? What about the DNC Chicago? What about it? What about it? What about it? What, are we going? Let's go. Let's go to the DNC in Chicago. Is anybody else going? I don't want to go unless someone else is going. I don't want to go alone. Good Monday morning. The earth says hello. This world is insane and I just don't know. I don't know where I fit in here at all. I'm beginning to think the joke's on me. Although that seems almost too centered in the floofaverse. Oh, no. So good to see you. Hello, my love. How are you? How are you doing? I'm not feeling so gorgeous this morning, but you know, that happens, right? Anyway, good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm warming up. I'm warming up. And I'm ready to go. I do feel like singing today. I'm warming up. And I feel I'm ready to go. I really like that piece of music. What is that from? Which opera is that from? No. Now I can't remember the song because I'm mixing it up with another song. I'm so excited for Kamala. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to. In fact, I'm going to be walking precincts for her coming up shortly, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm ready. Yeah, no, I think this is really good. This is a good move. Joe needed to stop. I understand that. As long as it's his decision, that's all I really care about. I would like someone to have self-determination in this process, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. Nonetheless, regardless, I mean, I voted when Kamala was on the ticket. I voted for her too, and I think she is very talented, and she's certainly ready for the job, and I'm excited. And of course, the historic nature of her candidacy makes it even more exciting. But she, as a person, I think deserves this, and I think she will do an amazing job. So I'm really excited for her. I'm very excited for her. Hi, butterflies. How are you? How are you? How are you? She is on fire. I just hope that, I get a little nervous when a lot of people get real excited about something in the beginning, because I just think that 100 days is a long time, and I'm not that anyone is. I think everyone is I think everyone is cautious given that we can't take things for granted in terms of what the other side will try to do. Now, I think the thing about Kamala is that she has experienced this intense misogyny and racism her entire career. And one of the things I talked about was when I lived in San Francisco and, just kind of being in the Bay Area, I knew a little bit about her when she was, running for district attorney and stuff like that. And I always thought in the back of my mind, like, they seem to over sexualize her all the time. This was in the old days. They really focused on she's a woman, young woman at that. She's still a young woman, but like younger. And they always like objectified her. And then the rumors of her and Willie Brown and all this nonsense, that stuff, which is very typical for women to have experienced in like the 80s and 90s. Your success was always attributed to your success quite often could be attributed to what you did with men or whatever in the company. You know what I mean? Like that was something that followed you around. I'm going to be honest, in the 80s and 90s especially. Any success you had somehow was not valid, and it was because you were sleeping your way to the top or whatever. You know what I mean? So I at that point, I also was like, oh, why are they, stop doing that to her, right? So, so I think she has experienced this for decades, frankly, and very in your face, not like, just the usual online. I mean, they really, even when she wasn't in the spotlight per se, she has been, maligned over the years. So, to that point, I think she as an individual is particularly seasoned when it comes to trolls and things like that. Yeah, I heard about the villages. They were rallying for. I think it's really cute. I think that's great. The thing about it is, I hope that her candidacy is embraced by a lot of people as a fresh start. I can feel that excitement. I can feel, and I want Gen Z to be excited, because this is their president, really, for many intents and purposes. So I'm really grateful to see all of the embrace of her, and I hope that it only gets stronger. And she will have to she will have to express and represent the Democrats in ways that we want her to, of course. But that would be anyone. And so I think that she will be held to standards that no one could possibly meet. And I don't want her to be held from that. If she had 5 kids from 3 different fathers. Yeah, apparently it's only if you have a vagina that, you get, that sticks. If that stuff, I mean, if she had that, can you imagine? I mean, that's such a good point, no? Like, can you imagine if she had some of the same personal characteristics as the dude? Like, it's just amazing to me what we collectively ignore. Not ignore, but you know what I mean, that we accept. And that so many people, like, legitimately accept that a false, like, double standard. It's funny to me how easily people accept the double standard, I guess. I don't know. Listen, I don't know anything. Let me tell you the person you shouldn't listen to me. Baby daddies. That's right. She had baby daddies. But she didn't. She didn't. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So I want to support her. I want to support her probably more because of what I saw her go through, and the fact that, um, you know, women are particularly demonized for whatever it is that people want to pick up on in ways that men obviously are not. And it's not, it's not a, oh, us women are picked on. It's just like a observation that I mean, this is a perfect example of a woman who has probably had a pretty storied career without a lot of, huge controversy, right? She's got some stuff in her past, Um, my perception is that she was pretty tough on crime when she was a DA. I don't know why they're playing her off as, the big-hearted San Francisco liberal, but I think the impression that I got was that her district attorney career was pretty law and order, kind of thing, and I think would have been more along the lines of something that was attractive to, you know, conservatives, but of course it can't be because it's her, so they can't possibly be can't possibly be, you know. So yeah, I'm excited. Do not hit my camera, okay? Cat, why don't we move? Why don't we pick a place to move? That's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a place. Mommy's going to put her thing away. Okay, thank you. I'm super excited. She's a force to be reckoned with. Yes, beautiful, intelligent, witty, and a great resume. She really is. Butterfly, she really is all of those things. Counting on Pavlovian response to San Francisco. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Max. Yeah, that's it. Really. I mean, it's like a, but at the same time, I don't know. I just think it's not going to work. Oh my God. I was watching Chicks on the Right this morning, which is a terrible show. Don't watch it. But it's two women who are very like Nazi kind of supporting. I don't know. They're weird. I don't get them. Anyway, they were talking about JD Vance, and yeah, I am smiling. I am so happy. And you know what makes me really happy is just the incredible response that her campaign has received. And I think that's a great. I didn't expect it, and I think it's really amazing that people showed up for that, and that's good. I'm glad. Moving myself. Anyway, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Where's our campfire? What the hell? Let me build a campfire for us. Okay, there we go. There's no Congress today. No congressional hearings today. Nothing to watch. Well, I'll check the YouTubes just to see if there is anything. Glenn Beck. Ugh. God, Glenn Beck. I just thought America could vote for a female. I think so. I think so. I think they will. I think they will. I think white women are still a problem as a voting bloc and in line at the grocery store. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm probably the one that's a problem in line at the grocery store. But I think America would vote. I don't know. This is more excitement than I've seen widespread for a candidacy. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. This is kind of why I'm looking forward to canvassing and door knocking, because I feel like I don't know in pockets of Los Angeles what people are feeling. Although I feel like if you're pro democracy, you're definitely ready for Kamala, which I think is great. So I don't know. We'll see. What else? Oh, I worked on some of the Con Pod yesterday. Woo! Wrote a little bit of episode. I've been slow in finishing. I have an outline for the rest of the episodes, but I didn't like write out the script because writing to me is a chore, and I don't like it. I hate writing. So, but but I wrote most of episode 2 and I can record it. So probably in the next week or so, you'll see another episode of Con Pod. I'm sorry it's slow, but oh, you're already getting texts asking. I would imagine in your area too, Max. I know you're up in the Northeast, kind of. That would be a great. See, I'm trying to find places down here where it's going to be really worthwhile. Like, I mean, definitely there are places like in Ventura County. There's parts of LA County. I could go over to. I was thinking of going like into Brentwood or Beverly Hills or something where there's particularly amounts of red. But and then also I don't know about Orange County, and I'm not I'm waiting to see what's assigned. I'll take whatever's assigned, but I'm excited. I'm excited to do that. I haven't done that actually. I don't think. Well, wait, that's not true. I have done it in the past, but it's been in the distant past. I'm not usually really campaigning, but I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it this time. I think I need to fix my camera. Hold on. Hold on. I need to fix my camera. There, that's better. It's a little more framed. Get my head framed. Get my head framed. Anyway, I don't know. This weekend was kind of booty. I don't know if you guys had a good weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Did you do anything exciting? I will say, I watched a little bit of the Olympics yesterday with Bobo. I didn't really watch the opening ceremonies. I was sleeping. It was like Friday afternoon for us. So, but we watched some of the gymnastics. Holy fuck. Simone Biles is like, she has to be the best gymnast in the history of gymnasts. And I know sometimes we say that with like every new superstar gymnast, but I'm really serious. I feel like she is actually the best gymnast in the world. Like, since time. Like knocking Nadia Comaneci out. You know what I'm saying? So that was really, and I love Team USA outfits. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. And I also love the outfits from China. I'm not really happy with the color blocking on the outfits from China, but the beadwork is like exceptional. Let me show you. Well, maybe I won't. Probably get in trouble. But yeah, I watched the Olympics. I didn't watch the opening ceremonies. It's funny to me how much how Christian everybody has gotten all of a sudden. That's always hilarious to me. I remember when I was like attending church on a regular basis. Like people were not that Christian. They weren't that like offended by everything. Now, granted, it was the Methodists, and they're not. They're not. They're pretty hard to offend. But yeah, I didn't. I didn't. They didn't really get like up in arms about like more moral stuff. So I really have to believe, and I want everyone to like. I don't know. I wish the Christian reactors would wake up, but I want to believe that like the Christian reaction to like drag queens and shit like that is like coming from the top and like really pushing out, and that people, if they kind of snapped out of it, would be like, oh, why are we so like, why do we hate these people so much? Like fucking drag queens doing, first of all, I think it was the Feast of Dionysus. It wasn't the Last Supper, right? It was a different painting they were they were inspired by, which is the multi-god Greeks, I think. Right? Like, so I know they're so invested in feeling like persecuted and attacked and all of this stuff. Good morning, Julie. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we're just hanging out. Doing some waking, doing some baking. I haven't done any baking yet, but I'm about to do some baking. Anyway. I am going to read some news this morning. And unfortunately, I'm going to be reading it from both the Philadelphia Inquirer and the New York Times. And here's the reason. I really love the way the New York Times is laid out. I hate the New York Times, but the way they lay their news out is actually much easier to navigate than the Philadelphia Inquirer. So that's just a fun fact. The GUI on the Philadelphia Inquirer website is really bad. KKK people won't vote for Kamala. No way, no how. Yeah, exactly. No, it's totally baked in. You're right. There's going to be a segment, 30% at least? Yeah, the Biden news. Yes. Oh, Biden? Is there news about Biden? Oh, the overhaul of the Supreme Court. Yeah, I actually want to read about that. So, first of all, in terms of headlines, Maduro is declared the winner in the tainted election in Venezuela. Which actually I want to read about that. Hold on, I'm gonna read that to you. The other thing I was watching this weekend. Was the arrest of Tommy Robinson in the UK. And first of all, if you're an adult male, if you call yourself Tommy or Jimmy or Joey, you sound like you're a fucking Nazi, okay? Or a child, you know what I mean? Like something's wrong there's some stuff in your hard drive we need to check out. Can I just say that? If you're an adult male and you're walking around and you're calling yourself Tommy, Joey, Jimmy, something's wrong. I know. And that's a gross generalization and it's probably wrong. But I'm just saying, that's how I feel. Okay. Anyway, so I was watching Tommy Robinson, who is like a TV Donnie. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. I was watching Tommy Robinson, who basically was arrested in the UK on domestic terrorism charges. And part of his story, I didn't get the whole story, but part of his story is that he was up in arms when a Syrian refugee child in a school in England was forced to the ground, and boys poured water on his face. So there was this uproar that there was a waterboarding in the school, et cetera, et cetera. Hi, Lee. Oh, hello, love. Have good meetings. The claim was that this Syrian boy was basically waterboarded by these other larger white British boys. So Tommy, I guess, took it upon himself to like investigate and do all these TV, whatever, documentary or something, which I actually watched part of. I didn't watch the whole thing, and basically it was look at all the ways that the refugee community in England is violent and, hurting our children. And don't look at the way these kids terrorize this one boy, which was caught on film. And there was, so when he was arrested, I don't know why he was arrested, but I think it was because this documentary, which basically just explains what a fucking bigot he is. Anyway, the crowd that gathered outside of Scotland Yard when he was arrested was really like somewhat organized and pretty like angry, obviously. And it just gave me pause that there are little situations like that all over the place that are the points at which you can see the kind of domestic terrorism-y kind of vibe. And I think that I don't know, it's just something to watch. You know what I mean? Like those situations perk up my ears a little bit when I hear about little fires that are burning in different parts of the world. And that one, it's very racist. It's very xenophobic. It's very all of those things. It's very Islamophobic. It's really, pretty serious stuff. And it just seemed to be getting a little bit of traction yesterday. So I'm just planting a seed. That's a story to watch. I think it's, I guess they let him go last night. So, but there's quite a little crowd around good old Tommy Robinson. And he's even got a couple songs they sing for him. The victimhood persecution fetish was prevalent throughout the first phenomenon we watched. Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be. It seems to be endemic. And boy, people just can't stop watching it, it seems like. But there it is. That'll be part of the next episode. Oh, the con pod. I don't think so. There's going to be some people that do not like the con pod. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be. But anyway, okay, wait. Back to Venezuela. Anyway, but that's all to say that Venezuela's autocrat is declared winner in tainted election. The result, which would give Nicolas Maduro 6 more years as president, was disputed by the opposition, and the United States said it had serious concerns. This would be where EO 13848 comes in. Venezuela's authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner of the country's tumultuous presidential election early Monday, despite enormous momentum from an opposition movement that had been convinced this was the year it would oust Mr. Maduro's socialist-inspired party. The vote was riddled with irregularities, and citizens were angrily protesting the government's actions at voting centers even as the results were announced. With 80% of voting stations counted, the country's election authority claimed that Mr. Maduro had received 51.2% of the vote, while the main opposition candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, had received 44.2%. Mr. Maduro's government has invented election results before, and this tally was immediately called into question by the opposition and by several officials in the region. Quote, "We won and the whole world knows it," the country's most popular opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, told reporters in Caracas, the capital, early Monday. She called the declared result impossible, given information her team had collected about turnout. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, speaking to reporters in Tokyo, said the U.S. government had, quote, "serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people." Officials at some polling places refused to release printouts verifying the electronic vote count, and there were reports of voter intimidation and other irregularities. In a televised speech, Mr. Maduro called his victory a triumph of peace, of stability, and of the idea of equality. He denied accusations of electoral fraud. Even before the announcement, there was a concern that the declaration of victory for Mr. Maduro could plunge the oil-rich, crisis-laden nation into a period of deep uncertainty, with fear that street demonstrations could follow. In the past, security forces aligned with Mr. Maduro have crushed protests with violence. During the 25 years Mr. Maduro's party has been in power, it has presided over an economic contraction unlike any seen outside war, and has become the source of one of the largest migrant crises in the world. Millions of Venezuelans had rallied behind the opposition candidate, Mr. Gonzalez, a previously little-known former diplomat who became the contender after Ms. Machado was barred from running for office by the Maduro government. Ms. Machado, a conservative former legislator, has electrified great swaths of the country with a promise to restore democracy and bring home millions of Venezuelans who had fled their country. But in the end, Mr. Maduro's time-tested tactics of voter coercion, suppression, and confusion, combined with the opposition's limited ability to monitor the vote, seem to have tipped the balance in his favor. There are 2 vote counts in Venezuela, a digital tally received by the country's election body, which is led by an ally of Mr. Maduro, and a paper count printout by each voting machine at polling places. The paper counts are typically the way that everyday citizens can verify that the digital count is correct. But this year, in some key stations, election officials refused to hand over the paper tallies to election monitors. This was the case at one of the largest voting stations in the capital, Caracas, the Rafael Napoleon Baute School in Petare, where about 15,000 people vote. In Venezuela's second-largest city, Maracaibo, a local leader said they had not been able to get the paper counts for all the voting centers in their region. At one school, Colegio Gonzaga, people protested outside, calling on the electoral body to turn over the voting receipts. With limited paper counts, the country was left without a way to verify the result announced by the ruling party. For months, Venezuelans have been preparing to vote, and a spirit of civic duty and a strong desire for change permeated the nation during election on Sunday. Many polls showed Mr. Gonzalez with a significant advantage over Mr. Maduro. In some places, voters began lining up as early as 10 p.m. on Saturday, 8 hours before voting places were scheduled to open, and slept in the streets ahead of the vote. Mm. Speaking at a polling place in Caracas just after dawn, Henry Mayora, 74, said he had arrived at 2:30 a.m. with his own chair, making him the first in line. There could be an earthquake, a landslide, rain, said Mr. Mayora, who walks with a cane and was supporting the opposition, and we are going to vote. The election was being watched closely in Washington, which has spent years trying to push Mr. Maduro from office, levying brutal sanctions in 2019 that have strangled the country's already crippled economy. A change of government has become even more important to the United States in recent years, as a vast number of Venezuelans have begun migrating north as the country's oil becomes ever more valuable in a changing geopolitical landscape. Mr. Maduro's cozy relationship with U.S. adversaries, including Russia, Iran, and China, has only worried Washington more. In the weeks before the election, Mr. Maduro's government made enormous efforts to tilt the results in its favor, including arresting members of the Machado Gonzalez campaign and preventing most people living abroad from casting a vote. And as the polls opened on Sunday morning, there were signs of problems in various parts of the country. At the Andres Bello School of Voting Station in Caracas, a journalist with the New York Times watched about 15 men in unmarked black jackets temporarily block access to the center. In a scuffle, one woman was punched. In the city of Maturin, in the east, a woman was hit by a bullet as men on motorcycles passed by a line of people waiting to vote, according to a former lawmaker, Maria Gabriela Hernandez, who was at the scene. Many polling places across the country opened late. At times, voting machines stopped functioning. Some official witnesses were barred from entering their polling stations. Other stations stayed open late as members of Mr. Maduro's party rounded up voters who had yet to cast their ballots. In one voting center in the city of Carupano, in the northern department of Sucre, citizens and local journalists said that government security forces had tried to remove a vote monitor allied with the opposition and replace the person with a monitor lacking credentials from the country's electoral body. In the city of Cumana in Sucre, 5 people said that a new unofficial voting station had been installed in a community center. Jesus. Supporters of the government blocked a journalist working for the Times who tried to enter the site. At another polling place in Cumana, about 50 armed police officers and National Guardsmen had formed a long line outside by mid-morning, wearing helmets and bullet-resistant vests, clearly protecting the state's strength to anyone considering voting against those in power. In Maracaibo, in the west, voters reported that their polling places had been moved without their knowledge. Sonia Gomez, 65, said she had checked the Election Council website on Saturday to verify her polling station, but when she arrived on Sunday, election workers told her she was registered somewhere else. Quote, "They moved us older people because they know we don't have that much energy," she said, "but I'm going to look for someone to take me to vote." In other places, voting went more smoothly. At one of Caracas's largest voting centers in the working-class Petare neighborhood, Ronnie Velasquez, a personal trainer, said he had chosen to cast his vote for the government. He said that he was sympathetic to the opposition, but chose to seek improvements within the current political system. Quote, "It would take them years to change things," he said of the opposition. If the election decision holds and Mr. Maduro remains in power, he will carry Chavismo, the country's socialist-inspired movement, into its 3rd decade in Venezuela. Founded by former President Hugo Chavez, Mr. Maduro's mentor, the movement initially promised to lift millions out of poverty. For a time it did, but in recent years the socialist model has given way to brutal capitalism, economists say, with a small state-connected minority controlling much of the nation's wealth. Mr. Chavez swept to power in 1999 following a democratic election, vowing to remake a system led by a corrupt elite. Today his movement runs a state widely viewed as corrupt, and his party's leaders are the elite, and Ms. Machado and Mr. Gonzalez had promised to oust them. In recent interviews across the country, some supporters of the opposition vowed to take to the streets if Mr. Maduro declared a victory. Luis Bravo, a voter who was selling water at an opposition event recently, said that if Mr. Maduro declared a win and there were demonstrations, he would join. Quote, "I'm praying that it doesn't come to that because obviously a lot of people are going to die," he said. "But if I have to, I have to." Wow. So that's Venezuela. You know, the world is a little bit burning sometimes, some places. Little fires. Little fires. This is a bigger fire. The Tommy Robinson is a little fire. This is a bigger fire. um, but it's a fire nonetheless. It's interesting. I wonder what the response from the State Department will be. I don't know. And I wonder what we can learn from their election shenanigans that could erupt. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hi, Oren. How are you? Here's the thing about. Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna go over some news stories this morning. Yeah, I didn't catch up on the Venezuelan election, other than hearing Maduro was leading or whatever. Um, I think that what what the media ecosystem, kind of like that right wing ecosystem, free coffee grumbles, girl, I got you. Trust me, I got you. Um, the right wing media system has really softened local election processes in ways that uh, allow loyalists. I think of someone like Tina Peters. Okay, let's take Tina Peters in Colorado. Tina is facing some state charge. I don't know if it's federal or state charges for her role in downloading the vote from the machines in Mesa County, Colorado, and sharing them with Mike Lindell's team back in 2021. And so she got in trouble for that. And what my fear, I guess, or a concern, is that there are many people throughout the country who are in charge or part of the election process, whether they're at polling locations, whether they're like clerks and administrators like Tina Peters was for Mesa County. There was an amazing ground game by really the Lindell family. I mean, of shitheads like Doug Frank and Seth Keshel and all these guys that I talk about a lot. There was a real ground game by them over the last 3 years to soften the voting electorate that, they should be scared of the boogeyman, also known as a Democrat, and that elections almost have to be, that things like this, election interference, like intimidation and all those things, that those almost have to be part of the process, right? I think it would be a roadmap for what could come if I don't want to finish my thought. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. This is my point. My point is that Steve Bannon in particular has really led the charge over the last 3 years intensely, and earlier too, um, to build up kind of a resistance core, if you will, to how elections should run, and to instill fear in people around election day, and the fact that lefties are going to steal it, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, it's not that I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't fear like some major you know impediment to people voting. I imagine lots of little situations that either make it more difficult to vote or become confrontational. Whether that means like all out violence, I'm not really sure about that, or just like severe intimidation and, similar stuff that we saw with the school board meetings a few years ago, right? Where people were really like fucking hyped up. So I think it's in the back of my mind. And yeah, I've been thinking about that. Anyway, um, so that's Venezuela. That's Venezuela. Don't cry for me, Venezuela. I am Nicolas Maduro. I'll take the presidency, and if I want to, you cannot stop me. I'm wearing a flag on my shirt. You cannot stop me. I wear the armor of God. Yeah, this boy, am I convinced that religion is a bad thing. I'm so sorry. We can't handle it. We can't handle it. We can't handle religion. We can't handle magical thinking. Humans just aren't equipped. It's not equipped. Okay. Here we go. Let's read this story. Biden to call for changes to Supreme Court during Austin visit. In his first public engagement since ending his campaign, President Biden will propose overhauling a court that has become increasingly politicized and subject to ethics complaints. Well, that would be fine if they had an ethics code, but they don't. Can you believe that? Can you believe that the Supreme Court doesn't have an ethics code? Isn't that weird? Doesn't that seem weird to you? That seems really weird to me. I mean, I suppose if you're the highest court in the land and it's like the 9 of you and you go, we don't need any rules for each other, right? We're good, right? Yeah. I mean, isn't that like the definition of bad? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, okay. President Biden is expected to deliver remarks on Monday, pushing for legislation that would bring major changes to the Supreme Court, including imposing term limits and creating an enforceable code of ethics on the justices. The president is scheduled to speak at the Lyndon Johnson Presidential Library and Museum in Austin, Texas, his first public engagement since announcing his decision to end his presidential campaign last week. His speech will commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act and propose overhauling the court, an effort that requires congressional approval and has little hope of gaining traction in a Republican-controlled House and divided Senate. The White House said in a fact sheet that Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, also supported the changes Mr. Biden would outline in his remarks. Mr. Biden is expected to argue that the current system of lifetime appointments for Supreme Court justices gives a president undue influence for decades. He will propose a process in which a president would appoint a justice every 2 years to spend 18 years on the bench. What? I don't get it. I don't know if I get that. Mr. Biden supports a code of conduct that would require justices to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, and recuse themselves from cases in which they or their spouses have financial or other conflicts of interest. According to the plan, they basically just took what happened with Clarence Thomas and put it in an ethics code. What would Clarence Thomas not do? And let's put that in the ethics code. Mr. Biden has been discussing the proposals. Oh, whoops. He also would call He will also call for a constitutional amendment that could limit the broad presidential immunity that the court's 6-3 conservative majority backed at the end of its term last month. That amendment would state that the Constitution does not confer any immunity from federal criminal indictment, trial, conviction, or sentencing by virtue of previously serving as president, the White House said. Mr. Biden has been discussing the proposals with constitutional scholars in recent months, and he had been inching toward announcing them when he ended his campaign. Progressives have urged him to move to limit the power of justices on the court, but he has not yet called for major changes. I don't know if it's limiting their power or if it's just expanding the court so that you have a greater representation. I don't know. That's just my initial thought, which is dumb, probably. A commission that Mr. Biden created in 2021 to examine the issues did not make specific recommendations, and he did not take any action. Since then, the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, blocked gun control measures, eliminated affirmative action in college admissions, eroded its adherence to legal precedents, and diminished LGBTQ rights. Mr. Biden has called the court's immunity ruling a dangerous precedent that means there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. But a constitutional amendment limiting that decision would face challenges requiring 2/3 vote in Congress or at a convention called for by 2/3 of the states. Oh dear. Following ratification by 3/4 of the state legislatures. Yeah. I'm going to need your help on the Supreme Court because I'm about to come out, Mr. Biden said in a virtual meeting with members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus this month. I don't want to prematurely announce it, but I'm about to come out with a major initiative on limiting the court and what we do. He added, hi, butterflies, the Dems, I know, we do, right? We act like everything's like, it's like we're in a D&D game and they're in, Valorant, right? Like, I feel like we're playing D&D, they're playing Valorant. If you know, you know. Former President Donald Trump denounced Mr. Biden's ideas on social media this month, accusing him and Democrats of desperately trying to play the ref by calling for an illegal and unconstitutional check on our sacred United States Supreme Court. Sacred. Until they decide against him. Mr. Biden's appearance in Austin will be another opportunity for him to explain his decision to withdraw from the presidential race and endorse Ms. Harris, whose campaign has raised more than $200 million and garnered widespread support. It gives us, quote, it gives us a really remarkable opportunity to see the president up close, to hear what he has to say about the decision, to hear what he has to say about the race, and that is going to unfold between now and November. Mark Lawrence, the director of the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library and Museum, told an ABC affiliate in Texas on Sunday. Adding to the historic significance is Mr. Biden's choice of venue for his first public engagement since leaving the race. Mr. Johnson was the last Democratic president to announce during an election year that he would not seek re-election. I don't hear anything about expanding the number of justices. I can imagine that is actually an incredibly challenging change to make. Because I think with everything, you have to have 2/3, right? With everything, don't you? Have to have like a super majority or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. All right, let's see what else. Japan wanted higher inflation. It's here and it hurts. Yeah. Israel's security cabinet approves military response to attack from Lebanon. There's another area like we've got, I just hope we get Bibi out of there. I'm sorry. I think Bibi Netanyahu is the drama, and I need him. He needs to go. He needs to go. The bombing in Gaza is unacceptable, and it needs to stop. And I want our government to do more to stop it. I don't understand why we're doing that. Why we're supporting that. I'm sorry. At this point, it needs to stop. There's not going to be any people left. Bibi needs to go. Bibi needs to go. Yeah. Let's see. Harris looks to maintain momentum as honeymoon phase winds down. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then there was a Bitcoin conference this weekend in Nashville, and the president spoke at it. A bunch of people spoke at it. I didn't watch a lot of it. I think I probably will actually go back and watch some of that Bitcoin conference. To me, that's like on the landscape is like kind of an incel thing, but I think we're going to have to deal with digital currencies, obviously, in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know. I'm nervous about that. I'm nervous about the whole transition of economy. I just think we're in for some wild rides. I think we're in for some wild rides. Traffic enforcement dwindled in the pandemic. In many places, it hasn't come back. Isn't that interesting? Change in traffic stop volume in major cities. It's gone down significantly. Isn't that interesting? Like it really started going down in 2020, obviously, with the pandemic. And then it really has never recovered. Isn't that interesting? So interesting. The Dems, yeah. True preppers roll a sufficient amount of joints beforehand. That's true. I would do that. I would do that. Let's see what else is going on. Do 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 do. Oh no, flood sweep Dolly Parton's Dollywood theme park. Terrible. 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 I also have some bookmarks I want to read. Okay, wait. Let me check the other paper. I want to read this. This is from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Why the thought of Josh Shapiro as Kamala Harris's VP nominee is making the Pennsylvania GOP nervous. Pennsylvania Republicans are advising the Democratic governor against joining the ticket, if asked. Well, how interesting. As a growing group of Pennsylvania Democrats mount an aggressive campaign for Governor Josh Shapiro to be vice president, Republicans in the state are watching warily. Quote, in what we know is going to be a close race, I don't think anyone wants to see Shapiro on the ticket, said one high-ranking Republican from Pennsylvania who spoke on condition of anonymity. Republicans nationally have indicated they see Shapiro, a first-term governor from a critical state, as Harris's strongest VP contender. In Pennsylvania, a dozen Republicans interviewed largely agreed. A dozen? Wow, a dozen? I think even though it's not on the coast, I think he's too coastal. You know what I'm saying? I know Max is going to be like, it's not on the coast. But it's the East Coast. Let's see. They privately projected some fear he could make it harder for the former president, Donald Trump, to win the state, and publicly were trying to wave Shapiro off the idea. Of the people who she could possibly pick, he would be the one that makes it the most challenging because that's a name that people are familiar with, said Bill Bretz, the GOP chair in Westmoreland County. U.S. Rep. Dan Moiser, a Republican in Pennsylvania, a Trump ally, also acknowledged Shapiro could be helpful to Harris in Pennsylvania, although he stressed vice presidents have not historically shifted the balance of elections and reiterated he still thinks Trump will carry the state. It may honestly help some if, in fact, he wanted to connect the lineup and be part of what I think will be a losing campaign, said Moiser, whose district stretches from Berks County to the New York border. Part of Shapiro's appeal beyond his popularity in the key battleground state is the possibility he could pull in more moderate voters and even some Republicans, which he has done in all three of his previous statewide campaigns. A whole 12-pack. That's right. Basically a case, I guess. Is that a case? I don't know. He prioritized bipartisanship throughout his career and proudly touts being the only governor in a state with a divided legislature. He would also replace at least a touch of Pennsylvania that had been on the ballot. At least a touch of Pennsylvania that had been on the ballot with President Joe Biden, who grew up in Scranton and often jokingly referred to himself as the state's third senator while he served in Delaware. There's no state where trading out Joe Biden for Kamala Harris is more detrimental than Pennsylvania, said Republican strategist Guy Chiarocci. If you switch out the blue collar, I was born in Scranton and everybody called me Joe, and you replace him with someone who people don't know as well, who's from California, who doesn't really share that working class background, you want a running mate who helps with that, Chiarocci said. Shapiro has been campaigning for Harris around the state in recent days, and with a Monday event scheduled in Montgomery County where he launched his political career. Hope Danoff, a Republican organizer from Bryn Mawr, said she worried Shapiro on the ticket would help Democrats in his home state and nationwide. She pointed to his full-throated support for Israel as one of the reasons. I think he's going to make it a lot tighter, Danoff said at a GOP office opening in Montgomery County. He's Jewish, he's pro-Israel. I think that appeals to a lot of moderates and independents. A Fox News poll of Pennsylvania released Friday found that Shapiro was viewed favorably by 61% of respondents, compared to 49% favorable for Harris and 46% favorable for Trump. The poll also found that Shapiro would lead Trump by 10 points in a hypothetical matchup. The poll found that Trump and Harris were deadlocked at 49%. There you go. Several Republicans responded to questions about whether Shapiro could make it harder for Trump to win in Pennsylvania by sharing advice for the governor and trying to caution him against the move. If I was advising him, I wouldn't get involved in this race, Brett said. If I'm Josh Shapiro and I know he has presidential aspirations, I'm not sure I'm hitching my wagon to this ticket. Stop. Also, I was dismayed by Shapiro's recent capitulation on school vouchers. Really? I'm not a Josh Shapiro fan, unfortunately. I mean, he's fine, but whatever. I don't know. He's probably a little too, I don't know. I don't know what he is. And apparently he's a little bit of a bender, so I'm not really excited about that. Moiser said Shapiro would face attacks related to the border taxes, government regulations, and an assault on domestic energy. Sorry, that's like really, it's actually cold. Harris supported a fracking ban as a candidate in the 2020 Democratic primary, a position she walked back after becoming Biden's running mate, according to Axios. Who cares? So if he wants to be part of that in many ways, that's not the Josh Shapiro that represents himself as governor. Sam DeMarco III, an Allegheny County GOP chair, said he questions whether Shapiro, who has built a brand as a moderate Democrat, would want to align himself with Harris, who was once ranked the nation's most liberal senator. Harris got the ranking in 2019, shortly after, which did the ranking, ended it, determining a single year did not provide a reliable portrait of ideology. So there. Hello. They used 1 year of her voting to make that ranking. Come on now. DeMarco conceded, which, you know what? Maybe she should do more. DeMarco conceded that having Shapiro on the ticket as a popular swing state governor could increase support for the Democratic ticket here, and he noted his skill as a speaker and campaigner. I'm concerned it might just help them in turnout here in Pennsylvania, getting the Democrats, who I believe would be lacking in enthusiasm, a boost here, DeMarco added. But at the end of the day, voters vote for the name at the top of the ticket. The tenor of more muted criticism shows how Shapiro has managed to develop relationships with some Republicans. Of course, the Harris team is looking at Governor Shapiro for VP role, said Jim Schultz, a Republican who was general counsel for former Pennsylvania Republican Governor Tim Corbett, and whom Shapiro appointed to run the Delaware River Port Authority. Harris' anti-fracking and anti-gas industry positions make her particularly vulnerable here. To put a moderate pro-energy 3-time statewide winner from a must-win swing state on the ballot would be a smart move. Are you gonna knock stuff over, Gus? Yes. Okay. Continue, sir. Oh, you're stepping on my board. Okay. Okay. A Republican consultant who has worked on Pennsylvania campaigns said one of Shapiro's strengths is that despite having many liberal positions, he comes across as largely non-threatening to many Republican voters. The consultant said the GOP was at least in part to blame for Shapiro's rise, given that the party nominated a weak candidate, Doug Mastriano, in the governor's race. Shapiro won decisively, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's over. So there you go. There's Josh Shapiro. That's one of the potentials. I guess it's what? Shapiro? I don't know. I feel like it's always going to be a name that's like, it'll be like Waltz or someone, Who, here's my problem with Waltz. This is my only problem with Waltz. Overlay that shows the manufacturing jobs. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, I've got something for you. Hold on. Let me help you with that. I'm gonna make you happy. Make you happy right now. Make someone happy. Make some. Whoops. Hold on. I'll show you. I'll show you what'll make you happy. I've got something to make you happy. I've got something that'll make you smile. Where did I put it? But where to put it? But where to put it? Let me go down here. Is it here? Is it here? It's really worth it. No, really, don't leave me. God damn it. You know, I look at this fucking thing comes up every day, and here now the one time I want to find it, I can't fucking find it. Damn, girl. Damn, girl. Oh, here we go. Here it is, baby. Here it is, my loves. What has Biden done? Yeah, there you go. This is what Biden has done. How's that? Kamala is already. I did. Oh my God. Do you want to know what else happened, though? Do you want to know what else happened, Oren? I know. I spilled coffee on my fucking camera. So we had to put my camera in rice last night. Oh, man. I know. It's beautiful and fantastic. I wish we could read it, but anyway. Max says Kamala is already female and POC, and her husband is already Jewish. They need a white Christian moderate Southern man. In other words, what Biden was for Obama. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I hate to say that because we're just not, the voting electorate is not caught up. Yeah. At least I had rice. I know. Thank God. It's just one of those weekends, man. Fucking nothing goes right. You know, that's just what it was. I don't know. I think something was wrong with the ports on my computer on Friday when I moved it into the kitchen. I think I fucked up the ports or something. So I don't know. It seems to be okay now. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know. I can't explain it. She needs Bill Clinton. Yeah. You know, I still think Andy Bashir is a good choice. And I know he's not in the running. Wait, who's in the running? It's like Cooper from North Carolina, Mitch Waltz from like Minnesota. Where's Mitch Waltz from? Sorry, I don't know. And then Shapiro. I don't know. I don't think Mitch Waltz is going to get it. And here's the thing about Waltz, okay? I think his politics are fine. I think he's like progressive, right? If I'm not mistaken. But, Mark Kelly. Thank you, Oren. Okay, so first of all, I think Mark Kelly is the right choice. Now, I don't know what that means for Arizona, except for the fact that Katie Hobbs would appoint his replacement, I believe. Pete's in Michigan? See, I'm warming up to Pete Buttigieg because he's so smart. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. Then it's like the, socialist gay takeover or something, but which is so fucking terrible. That's so fucking terrible. But I think Mark Kelly would be great because he's an astronaut. Everybody loves an astronaut. He's probably moderate enough, I guess, for whatever, people that can't handle it. Being smart is what made the chuds hate Obama. Yeah, well, one of the things, yeah. I think Mark Kelly would be perfect, actually. I guess we need Pete's brain. Yeah. I mean, just his ability to be on the stump. Although Mark Kelly probably is pretty good at, talking his way through shit. I don't know. He's not, to me, Mark Kelly's been in the background for a few years. So it's harder for me to think about him as like a real boost to the ticket, if you will. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud. But yeah, I don't know. I guess what has she said when she's going to pick? Does anybody know when she's going to pick? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've heard. I'm not sure I've heard. Hi, baby. Bye. Bye, sir. August 8th. Ah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm going to cover. Is that the DNC? When's the DNC is in like mid-August, right? Hold on. Let me see when it is. Why are they having it in Chicago? That just seems so prophetic. I can't even take it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Frequently asked questions, I guess. My God, just fucking give me general information. Fuck. Jesus. I hate the Democratic National Committee. Hate. 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 They blow fucking chunks. It does amp up the Obama, yeah. Well, and it is 1968. That's my problem, is that it's too many echoes of 1968, and that is not good. That's why. It's August 19th to the 22nd. That's when it is. August 19th to the 22nd. Yep. Oh, only 6 viewers today. We're kind of Monday lows, huh? Oh, well. America's not ready for Pete. I know, right? I think they would crucify or try. He's so smart. He can really talk. You know, I watched you watched the Win with Black Women thing. It gave me a lot of hope. You know, here's the thing. I want us to be able to acknowledge and I'm really sensitive to the fact that as a voting bloc, white women have let us down over the last few elections, if not more, but notably the last few elections. And I really want us to turn it around. I really want us to be, because black women have saved the country over and over and over and over again. And they've carried the burden of oh my God. Hello. Fast and Furious. As a voting bloc, black women have been really standing in the breach of democracy, and God, I really hope. I would really like to see white women step up this time and be, be loud and be. Someone said the other day. She said, "I don't want an ally." Oh, what was the word she used? Oh man, I want to fucking find that. Being white women with a little gray hair, everyone. I know. See, that's the thing, and And I don't want us to get offended when we hear that, right? I mean, that's the whole point, is that we can't get offended when we hear we're the problem. Accomplice. Yes, thank you. Did you hear that too, Oren? Did we watch that together? Shit. Now I can't remember. It's because black people know what it means to fight. Yeah, and just yes. 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 Continuing to this day. And it's not a fight that yeah, we did watch it. Okay. I want an accomplice. I love that. Yeah, I fucking love that. You know, because it's not, I think it tends to kind of come out as patronizing, or, you know what I mean? And I think we have to, yes, in the LGBTQ community, I mean, that there, some people's entire existence is fighting. So I also don't want to act like white women are going to save the world, because we're not saving the world. Okay. We haven't been, which is the problem. So I guess I want to just have a more like honest, and I don't want people to be like crushed by, you know, oh, I'm disappointing. I'm not this. I'm not enough. I don't really want that. I just want white women to be like in action, like active. But I really caution us against propping ourselves up to be the savior of anything. I think it has to be a collective, and we should be doing our part in the collective. Does that make sense? I'm not looking for a ribbon, I guess. I'm not looking for us to laud. I'm looking for a particular voting electorate to step up and do their part. Butterflies. White people are sort of clueless. Yeah, maybe now they understand, because I mean, do they? I don't know, because it's not really going to impact us that much. I mean, it will, but you know, there's a huge amount of comfort and privilege, and I don't know, being a not brain dead LGBTQIA female veteran. I guarantee that people in the South don't like that. Yeah. Yeah, Oren. It was a thing at rainbow gatherings to shoot passersby, "We love you," and then some joker decided to shout, "We tolerate you." Oh my God. Shout at passersby. "We tolerate you." I went to the white women to hear what they said. Oh, you went to that Zoom, or closed-minded people like the Chuds are too far gone? Absolutely. I mean, we have to accept that there's a voting bloc that is going to vote for authoritarian, conservative, you know, what they feel are somewhat aspirational values, which is really funny, because if they were living in a true, like, theocratic, you know, biblically based society, a lot of these people would reject that as well, because they want to behave. They want to kind of act with impunity. Oh, you saw the big Zoom. I didn't see that. I didn't join that. Sorry. 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 Hmm. Let me see. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it. That's all I want to say. I want us to be careful about, you know, we're going to save the world. We're not going to save anything. We're going to do our part, and we better do a better part than we've done before. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. White women, do your part. Don't shout about it. Just fucking do it. Be about it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. You know what I mean? Great, we broke the Zoom. Now move on. You know what I mean? Like I want us to not dwell too much on, oh, it's so great. Oh my God. Because we do that. We do that. Because that's a sense of community for some people. So I want us to be like, no, we're not going to do that. Not going to do that. I don't know. All right, that's my speech. Sorry. I'm sorry. Let me see if anything else is going on, then I'll probably let you guys go. I don't know. I'm not in a great mood. You know, there's just so many ghosts in my past. There's so many ghosts that just keep coming up. I'm tired of ghosts. I'm really tired of ghosts. I think I might need to move on to something else. Or just stop thinking that I'm going to find something somewhere that it's not there. I know. Zooms don't work right with 3 people. Seriously. There was a lot of getting out of comfort zone. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I could say a lot more about that. I know, Warren. Let's do it. Why don't we? Why don't we put all our ghosts in a basement somewhere? They can fight it out. I mean, I hang on to the ghosts to some degree. But they just keep haunting, you know? I heard that the people knocking on doors like you will not be talking about one person, but all people. I agree with that. I wouldn't want 10 different people knocking on my door. Hell no. I want to talk about the entire ticket, up and down the ballot. I don't know. I haven't gotten my little training or anything, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we can talk about I also just want to approach it from, are you registered to vote, and have that conversation, and what's on the ballot this year. So I got to work on it. I got to work on my spiel. Anyway. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go. It's all right. Thank you. Oh, butterflies, thanks. I really appreciate you being here. Hi, Tom. Driving. Yay. I appreciate everyone showing up. My goodness. Monday mornings, am I right? Anyway, I hope you have a great day. And, reach out and tell someone you like them today or something. I don't know. Do something nice for somebody, I guess. I'm going to try. And do something nice for someone. Anyway, have a great morning. And, yeah, I'll see you. Well, I'm having a space tonight at 5 on Twitter. So feel free to join us for that. And that's already up there. And then I'll probably see you tomorrow morning, too. All right. Yep. Yeah. Thank you, too. Have a great day.